and thank you for joining me today. This video is a presentation of my designed project-based learning with the ADDIE model as a framework. The basic knowledge on the use of technology or information and communication technology no longer meets the growing trends of much more advanced technology in society. Children who grew up in this generation require a learning environment that would respond to their learning styles. This means they also need teachers with a growth mindset on the role of technology. This integration in the curriculum design must be intentional to help learners achieve their best potentials. If you are an English teacher, the content of this lesson is based on the most essential learning competencies issued by the Department of Education, Philippines. The MELC used as reference is meant for grade 5 students or grade 5 pupils. This lesson plan that I'll be sharing with you is also flexible, that you can apply interdisciplinary approach, where you can invite your colleagues teaching science, technology, even history and values education. I'll share more ideas at the end of this video on how you can create your expert group. You can also send me an email if you would like to have the lesson plans. Based on the conducted analysis this summer, 2022, teacher respondents from public schools identified 3 of their pupils' least mastered skills. So the result shows that the common skills that needs intervention are grammar and writing. So these identified skills are spread on quarter 1, 2, 3, and 4. So I hope this video will be a good guide or a tutorial for you in designing your own plans. There is also a separate video link at the end of this that you can watch on YouTube. It was one of my led webinars in collaboration with Dr. Chi Shanlin of Apex Cyber Academy of University of Tainan, Taiwan, and also with Mr. Justin Shell of my school in the United States. The story of why is a project-based learning with ADDIE model as framework. ADDIE actually stands for the 5 steps involved, and these are analysis, design, development, implementation, and evaluation. As quoted from the EdApp micro-learning blog, ADDIE is a model that has been used since the 1950s. And when it was implemented in military training in the US, it became common practice across other branches. And then it became more known in the year 1970s. Instructional Design Systems, or IDS, which ADDIE is part of, originate from cognitive and behavioral psychology. And some also attribute the influences here on the system's design. In short, IDS introduces a systematic approach geared towards an efficient, appealing, and engaging knowledge acquisition and learning process. So the design phase also includes a test run. In this video, you will be watching some segments on the actual test run with professional teachers. They are Dr. Brian Mendoza Luzon, a master teacher and a 5th grade English teacher of Ampayon Central Elementary School in Butuan City. I also have Ms. Bernadette Mambulao and Ms. Annalisa Vivit, whom are both international teachers and experts in teaching English in a multicultural and international context from preschool level to middle school in Shanghai, China. The story of why is 3 parts lessons. Each lesson plan has specific learning goals for 50 to 60 minutes teaching. The first lesson is the introduction and the needs analysis phase. In this lesson plan, you are going to introduce your project, which is entitled The Story of Why. I hope you would take this like a motivation stage to excite and engage your students. This is also your initial phase to evaluate what are their vocabulary level, their grammar level, and of course, their background knowledge regarding the topic. It will be a goal-setting session for the entire class to keep them focused and visualize what probable and what specific story they'd like to work on. So the second lesson plan will help your students learn more about the rules and grammar and sentence constructions. Some of you may need to take more than one session to really harness their grammar levels and even increase their academic vocabulary. So for this project, we will focus on cause and effect conjunctions and framing questions and answers showing the relationships of causes and effects. This project is also suggested to be implemented in the second or third quarter of the school year. Good foundation on subject and verb agreement and basic tenses of the verbs are prerequisites to be able to write their story of why. Finally, the third lesson plan will be the writing stage in preparation for the project deliverables. This is where the students focus on writing and, of course, projecting their stories using multimedia platforms.
Welcome to our class. So thank you so much, Mr. Brian, Teacher Brian from Butuan City. We have also Miss Bernadette. She's an international teacher and she's currently in Tarlac. And of course, my very good friend, Miss Annalisa Vivit. She's in Shanghai, China right now. Yay!
Already.
Do you have any why?
Why is it that the frogs are?
I keep asking myself, why is it that the government, the risk is high. So
When
that
I was
is
a
my
little
big
girl,
why.
I was really curious why experience nighttime because I'm afraid of the dark.
Those are good questions. So that. And this would actually allow students to be more explorative, inquisitive, and I think it's going to be exciting in their part while they are learning grammar. Now, what are the expected deliverables or the project outputs? They're going to write a story of their most pressing question, why? And then show relationships and why things are and what happens next. And this is going to be a collaborative project among their peers. So they're allowed to work with 2 or 3 persons. So that's why we call this project the story of why. And in fact, as teachers, we can use this in combination with other classes. It's like an interdisciplinary approach. You can work it out with values education, with science class, math, or any class, or even with history. They could also play as you need time. You need to give them time to process and research in between while you continue your other lessons. So this project is projected to be completed in about 5 weeks, 4 to 5 weeks. So the 5th week includes presentation, uploading of work, presentation, and feedback giving. And then, of course, the output, it could be the choice of media depending on how they want it done. So there. You ready? 122-71761. Go to menti.com. What comes to your mind when you hear, see, or think of clouds? Any reason why did you choose these words? Can you tell me why? Any story behind these words?
For me, Ma'am Cecil, before, I really thought that the clouds are fluffy.
Experience whenever I see clouds and every time you're outside playing together with my siblings or with other neighbor friends, and then there will be soup served, and then
Makes you feel good, right? When you think
That's
of
right.
clouds, when you hear about it, when you see it, it makes you feel good because it's going to
rain.
Why do you think it rains? Do you know the reason why it rains? I know you have studied the water cycle. Okay, can you tell me what's going on here?
It evaporates.
when the water vapor cools, it forms clouds.
Right. Yes, and that's where the clouds are from. So clouds are made of what? Marshmallow? Okay, they're water, made of water. Okay. What about here? What's going on here? And
So
absorb
the water goes to the ground.
And do water stay where they are right now? Okay. What about the words on the screen? Are they familiar to you?
Some.
All right. So
No.
again, now you have noticed I changed the screen, right? So the first screen, the reason I showed that, because again, even from kindergarten, teachers talk about water cycle. So these are not commonly used. The first part is really the analysis, and then you will do your necessary adjustments in between. So you need to have a backup plan. You can even highlight that. You could do some checking, understood, or maybe hard or difficult. You could even ask them to mark you can mark your screen, for example, like this. Let's do some highlighter. Is this familiar to you? Hydrologic cycle? Okay, so let's check. Water cycle.
Yes.
Okay, so that's clear. Evaporation.
Yes.
Okay, condensation.
Yes.
Okay, precipitation. All right. What about transpiration? Infiltration.
Not really.
Groundwater.
Not really.
Okay. Aquifer.
Yes.
Okay.
Not really.
Okay. Runoff. Accumulation. Okay.
Yes.
What is the other word that we saw on the poster that it's not here? Right. So
Transpiration.
a combination of evaporation and
And the transpiration.
So this is a question. What is this word, right? So these are our missions. We're going to find out what they are. Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay, so before I'm not going to tell you what they are, but you're going to tell me what they are. So I want you to open the Word document I sent you, and then be ready with your keyboard. I'm going to teach you some shortcuts on your keyboard, okay?
Evaporation, condensation, precipitation, transpiration, infiltration, groundwater, aquifer. The water we drink today is the same water enjoyed by dinosaurs a long time ago. This is because the water cycle helps keep water going round and round. Welcome to Moo Math and Science and the water cycle with some demos. You're familiar with this picture of the water cycle. Water moves around and around and is constantly moving. In order to help you understand and remember the hydrologic cycle, also called the water cycle, I will show you a quick demo of water and the heat from the lamp. Evaporation is occurring. The problem is you can't see the evaporation. Now if I take hot water and pour it in the bottle, the water vapor will cool and you'll have condensation. You can see the condensation on the sides of the bottle. This occurs in real life when evaporation cools and attaches to small particles in the atmosphere, and clouds may form. When you get enough condensation, some of the liquid will fall, as you can see falling off the sides of the bottle. In real life, this can be rain, or snow, or many other forms. Next, transpiration. Some of the liquid will fall, as you can see falling off the sides of the bottle. In real life, this can be rain, or snow, or many other forms. Next, transpiration is when plants release water vapor. You can see the water vapor on the sides of the bottle.
And then we can start now asking questions. What happens to water when it turns into gas? So anyone, then you can ask them who would like to answer. And then you can also write a model sentence. It will be a guide for them in answering. So when the water turns into gas, therefore evaporation occurs. Okay. And then the next question, why does the water evaporate? The water evaporates. Of course, you will still elicit answers, but you will have your model answer on the screen. Now, what did you notice on my screen? There are highlighted conjunctions, right? And that's the language focus here. Then because the lesson objective is not so much on the structure of the grammar yet, that could be on the next lesson. The focus here based on the learning objectives that we talked about at the beginning is to identify the cause and identify the effects. So I did not focus yet on the grammar itself, on how they are written, but they are already highlighted. Next question that you could ask probably is, what kind of questions are this? Are we asking for the cause, the reason, or the result? So it's more about the functions of the language. You can continue by showing some of these examples from these models. You're going to say, are you asking for a cause or an effect? So what kind of questions they are. If you notice, but it's a different approach in teaching the structure. Instead of focusing on the answers, I'm leading the students to understanding the questions, the framing of the questions. I wanted to have that change of framework in the minds of the students by understanding the questions first before we focus on the answers. So that's why, are you asking for a cause or are you asking for an effect? So what are these cause questions? What are these effects questions? And then you can teach them now. Let's ask more questions. Why does the water turn into a vapor or gas? Is that a cause question or effect question? Of course, it is a cause question, right? So what is the expected answer? This time, you're going to lead them how to answer the question. Now, I'm going to expect each one of you to send me your answers. You have two choices: post in the group or send it to me directly. Now, whatever answer it is, whether right or wrong, it is accepted as long as you give your best. So that's how I encourage my students to type in. Okay, so now that you have seen their answers, so again, this is part of analysis. You would know what they're good at, what are their strengths, are there common mistakes. Don't correct them yet because this is not yet a grammar lesson. You can circle probably because here. So it could be another addition for conjunctions, what conjunction was used. Now, anyone who can tell me what is evaporation again? So again, read the one on the screen. Anyone who would like to read it, comes a platform for discussion. You already have seen the framing. Question first, understanding the questions itself, whether it's a cause or effect, and then leading them to answer into a more grammatically correct answers. And then okay, so condensation is a process in which a gas becomes a liquid. If I were to ask a question, so what would be the question like? So what's the question? Okay, so what are we looking for? Are we looking for a cause or are we looking for the effect with this statement?
Effect.
We're looking for the effect. So you highlight which part of the sentence. So what would be the question? For me, my observation again, students don't like grammar because we're too focused on how it looks like, but we forget the functions. So they forget to enjoy and have fun with it. So focusing first on the functions and then little by little, we immerse them until it becomes part of their language. So you're going to Kahoot.it, play on your desktop or on your phone. Key in the numbers. Now you just have to click. So this is the water cycle song. You can read the lyrics first all together with the kids, you know, at least for review of vocabulary, they don't forget it. And then you can sing the song.
Rain and snow come down and they hit the ground, soak into the earth or they hang around. In puddles or lakes they evaporate up into the clouds where they condensate. Boy, it's cold up there, but they're unaware as they grab some dust and return to us. They precipitate on land and lakes. It's the water cycle, ain't it great? Rain and snow come down and they hit the ground, soak into the earth or they hang around. In puddles or lakes they evaporate up into the clouds where they condensate. Boy, it's cold up there, but they're unaware as they grab some dust and return to us. They precipitate on land and lakes. It's the water cycle, ain't it great?
So that water cycle wrap is the wrap up. It's the wrap up of your lesson 1. And then you're going to announce to students what will they be expecting next week. It could be each one of you. You should be able to memorize the wrap and we will sing it all together. That's your assignment. So assignment is pressureless. It's more fun, isn't it? Especially for day one. And then you're going to hammer them with grammar. So that's on the second lesson for the structure. And then the third lesson will focus on writing, creative writing. It's the flow of this project. So it's the story of why. Just like what we have said when we talk about project-based learning, you begin with the end in mind. We started the class with the end. We set already the goal for the students that you're going to prepare a story with a story of why. And then we just like what we have talked about, what are the things that you're most curious about? What is this why that's not yet answered? So that would instill the curiosity in them. Recommend that you also connect with your science teachers. If it's history teacher, anyone who could help you. So students, you can just send them to them, especially if they don't have much access on technology. At least they have access on resource speakers, resource experts on the field. So that ends my demo for lesson 1, but actually that's the overall picture of the project-based learning. A story of why, motivation, foundation, grammar, and then writing. And then of course, technology follows. You can work with your team.
Well done, well done, well planned, well done. I like the fact that you have this plan A, B, and C. Especially if we have different kinds of group of kids, especially when we talk about, especially for public school students, we have SPED class students, students that are regular students. So not all the words there that na suited for them. So at least we have that, and every group of class can enjoy what is planned. So this would be time saving. It will really help a lot the teachers, especially if there's one topic like water cycle and you have plans like A, B, and C. I hope all of the lesson plans have that kind of ABC choices.
And for me, I really like also the integration of all the subjects, because we do already have the English subject, the science subject, and of course the music, because they were able to sing after all. And I do also like the ADDIE model, because there is the analysis, the development. Because for example, from the analysis, good thing there is a motivational question. If you were able to give some questions, then that's it. So we were able to ask, I wonder why is it that there is a ganyan. So at least it is actually related also to your topic. And also the development, the vocabulary development, because we were not able, we really don't know the meaning of the
evapotranspiration.
Yeah. Then there is the implementation. I guess the grammar is still consistent from the beginning of the lesson until the last, especially the conjunctions. You were able to hit it at the last part. And also the evaluation, of course. My suggestion lang siguro, Ma'am Cecil, will be diba, you were able to give the activity, the writing story, right? So why not that we were going to ask them to write a story, then you were going to give the 3 specific words.
But I like the idea, Brian, because again, for the next lesson, of course, for recycling of vocabulary, that would be part of the assessment.
Yes, Ma'am Cecil.
Reinforcing. Thank you, sir.
And also, Ma'am Cecil, why not? We were going to add also another, situational analysis prior to the lesson. Why not? For example, we were gonna show them a picture. Kanito yung mga damit sa labas. So then there will be a question of where does the water from the wet clothes go? Parang ganun ba?
Okay. Something more realistic, no?
Yes. And lastly, Ma'am Cecil, I really appreciate the integration of the technology, of course, because you're using the Menti, the Kahoot, of course. I got low scores. Oh my God.
You look like Kahoot.
Overall, I really like it. Thank you for presenting this one, because I'm going to use this one next time in my class.
I'm going to upload this on Prescola. I'm designing this for Prescola content.
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
So I'm hitting, para multiple purpose. So
Yes,
other
yes,
teachers can access it. Anyone who would like it, they will have an access. It will be
I agree with Miss Berna and Mr. Brian. Yeah, it's already well planned. I like the fact that you did not limit, the vocabularies for the students to learn. So it's an opportunity for them also to learn new things, and at the same time, the only thing that I'm concerned about is like the level of each student. So just like what Miss Berna said, if we think that these students can comprehend or can understand and can catch up with the new vocabularies, then it's okay. But there should be also a plan wherein the slower kids can also participate, and it's not too difficult for them also to learn those new words.
Right.
So yeah, I like the fact also that you started with the questions, because when I had the lesson, I only have a very limited period of time to execute that kind of lesson when I had that. And it was really difficult for me and my students to get along and to process everything, because it was just a day for me to teach that. And it was really, really hard, and I don't know where to start at that time. But luckily, some of my students are smart enough to understand, but those slower kids, they really struggled. And so I just promised them we will have some time to go over it again after we finished everything in the book. So yeah, I like that part, really do.
Okay. Thank you so much. Really, I really appreciate your time. Maraming salamat po.
Yes, you're welcome, Ma'am Cecil.
Salamat paayo ha.
Thank you, ma'am.
Congrats.
Congratulations.